Hello everybody, I'm Hawaiian Hillbilly. Here a little while back, a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of my friends here on the channel, Sherry Denowitz, sent me an email, and in that email, she told me to let her know when I was ready to start using Soft Pastels. At that time, I had no thought of using Soft Pastels. But I responded to her and I told her, I said, well, I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be. And as you can see, I bought some Soft Pastels. But I do not like messes. My art table here is in my living room. So I don't want to get chalk everywhere, and that's what I could imagine. So as soon as I told her that, I was as ready as I'll ever be to start doing Soft Pastels, I started thinking about how can I go about using Soft Pastels without making a mess. And the first thing I could think of really was like makeup. Now, I later learned a little bit more about this stuff, but anyway, I started thinking about makeup. It's a powder, and it's used with brushes and stuff like that. So I got to thinking, well, maybe I could do the same kind of thing with the Soft Pastels. I later found out, like I said, that they do make pan pastels, but I decided that I would put my pastels in a jar. I would crush them up and put them in a jar and just label the jars. So that's what I'm going to show you today. We'll do a few of these right here. This is not going to be, I don't think it'll be a super long video, but as you can see, pastels are messy. If you've ever used them, it may not be so easy to see on camera. And my lighting's not going to allow me to bring this real close. But you can see there is powder. Every time this box gets moved, the crumbs, the dust off these different chalks get moved over to the other ones. Now, hang on one second, guys. I need to grab one thing here. Well, no, I got something right here I can use. I got a paper towel right here because I'm going to get this stuff on my fingers. But for the most part, I am going to wear a glove. Now, we'll just set that over on the side over there. And if I get my arm in front of the camera, guys, I'm really sorry. I think I covered up something I need with my towel right here. I did. Here we go. I'm not going to go through the whole process, guys, because I think you guys can figure out how to make a label. And that's all I've done on here, on my jars. I just put labels. But I have another jar. I got a couple more jars here. So scarlet red will be our next color. I started over here. We're going to come here. I'm just going to lift this off of here. There it is. And I'll set it over here. Now, in this particular set of pastels, the color names are all identified on the inside of the lid, and you can actually swatch it right there if you want to also. I probably will not be doing that, but anyway, the names are right there. We're just going to do a few of these, guys. This, like I said, it's not going to be a long video. I just want to show you what I did to make things hopefully a little bit neater for me. Now, I say that, and the first thing I did with this color right here, I did swatch this color. Let me show you. I did swatch it. You can see here, I used my brush, and the first thing I did was I dabbed my brush in it. I'm not sure where the brush is at the moment. I don't see it over here. At least not the brush. Oh yeah, there it is. Let's see if I can reach it without blocking the camera. Here we go. So I'm not going to take here. I'll leave the lid on this one so I don't make a mess. We'll take the lid off of an empty one. But the first thing I did was I tapped the brush into the color, and then I went like I see makeup artists do. And when I went like that, chalk went everywhere. So I learned not to do that. I'm going to have to be a little more careful about tapping that excess off the ends of the brushes. But yeah, the first thing I did is just kind of spray that everywhere. Now I'm not real sure about what brush I'm going to be using the most. I'm not sure what's going to be best. I do like this brush right here also. I have never used these on paper yet other than the little swatch that I showed you. But I am going to be doing it, well, this is actually Sunday morning at this point. It's early hours Sunday morning, around 2:30 in the morning, something like that is when I'm doing this video. And I do live streams, my coloring live streams on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern time here in the U.S. So I have a little bit of time, so I'm going to make this little video, and then that way it's not like I'm going to be up most of the night and then try to do a live stream. But anyway, I already did the one color now. To crush these up, I bought, this thing's kind of heavy, let's slide this up out of the way right here for a second. There's a bunch of colored pencils laying underneath this towel, this black towel. I just have the black towel as a background. I bought a pestle and mortise. So what we'll do is we're going to take this next color, and like I said, you can see dust, you can see blue dust all over this thing. So I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe this off just a little bit on the top side, just to get some of that dust off of it. Not so bad, that's not too bad. And then we're just going to drop it right into the mortise. And then I'm just going to make sure the pestle is clean. I did learn from a subscriber that the grinder is the pestle. This thing's heavy. This is very heavy duty stainless steel. Now we're just going to grind this thing up. And they grind up pretty easily. I did not realize these were going to be so small when I bought them. They don't even cover the bottom of the jar when I put it in a jar. It's not even enough to cover the bottom. But really, it doesn't take much more than this right here, guys. And it's, ooh, see, just right there. I almost made, it came out of there pretty easily. See, I do have to be careful. And this thing did come with a little spoon for getting it out of the jar with, or out of the mortise with. I want to scrape this off of here because some of it will get stuck on there just a little bit. I don't want to lose any more pigment than is going to be necessary. And then we're going to make sure it's labeled right, scarlet red. We want to double check on the lid, make sure, yep, scarlet red. And then we're just going to put it in the jar. And some of this pigment may get stuck. And you know, this is really how they would make their pigment back in ancient times, not even going back that far. There was a time when if an artist wanted a color, they would have to be able to extract that color out of a plant. And this is pretty much how they would do it to some degree. I'm sure there was more involved in it. I'm not an artist, guys, for those of you who may not be familiar with the channel itself. I am not an artist. I took up the hobby of adult coloring in September of 2024. It's about 9 months ago, because it was something I could do in my living room, and I wanted to be able to live stream so I could have a chat room. I like having a chat room, meeting new people. And I have since met some really, really nice people, some good friends now. And we color together. And so that's about all I can do for that particular color. And we have us a nice, like I said, you can see it's not even really enough pigment to cover the bottom of the little jar here. But this way, I'm hoping I can keep my area clean. Now, I think when I'm actually using these colors, I got color right on that label a little bit. I can see a little bit of a thumbprint right there where I was just pressing that label. I'm hoping that when I'm using these, I don't make a mess, because I don't plan on having this black towel laying here at the time. Like I said, I've been working on a buddy color, a color along on my live streams. And I have it laying over to the side right now, but I have all the pencils laying, and they're underneath this towel right here. I just covered them up. All right, so now I've got to wipe this thing out. So I do need to go grab a paper towel. Well, I guess I can use this one I have laying here, although I think I would rather grab a different one. I'll be right back. I did not go far, guys. I just went and got me another paper towel. And I can use that. Now there is pigment still in here, but I couldn't get that out. It's just somehow in the grooves of the stainless steel. So I'm just going to use a paper towel and wipe this thing out. And unfortunately, there is enough pigment left behind in here that if I was going to be coloring something, I could actually use it. Now let's do another color. I've got 64 colors, as you can see. I've got to go through this whole box. We've got to make sure that we wipe the pigment off of our pestle. That little bit of color that remains on here really is not going to be real critical to the next piece of chalk that we put in here. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. We'll get this right here. We'll wipe the blue off of it. That's not too bad. Drop it in there and we'll crush it up. Now one thing about it, every time you touch the powder and then you touch something else, you're transferring that chalk from one thing to another. So you do have to kind of be careful or you'll end up getting chalk on stuff that you don't want to, because for example, you'll be holding this, it's transferring chalk to the mortise, but then if I'm not careful and I reach over and grab something else, then I'm going to be getting chalk on stuff. So you do have to be careful during this part of the process. Now, my first use of these will be on a Dr. Seuss picture out of the Dr. Seuss coloring book. This page has a lot of fish on it. And my latest live streams, if you're interested and you haven't seen those yet, you can check those out. But this will be the first time I use it. And I figure that's a good page because, well, quite frankly, it's a cartoonish kind of page. So, if I kind of mess up with these pastels, it's not going to be like maybe as noticeable, because of the style of the illustration itself. Now here's another color. I didn't grab the jar out yet. And now, see, I've got, let me see if I can get a hold of this without actually getting a bunch of chalk all over it. See, this is the problem, or a problem. You get chalk all over the jar by handling it with your hands that are covered with chalk. You get chalk on the outside of the glass. Then you pick it up with your other hand, you get chalk on your hands. And I'm trying to avoid that. Now, like I said, it is Sunday morning, early hours Sunday morning. I will have to spend some time working on these today. I'm going to be doing a lot of water. I'm going to be doing water and sky. So I'm going to have to get some blues. This is just, I'm doing the reds just to show you what I'm doing. Now, some people, this might seem kind of silly to do this, because they'll just grab it with their fingers and jump right in. But I just don't like that. I never have liked that. The only time I have not minded getting my hands dirty has been for work purposes, as a carpenter and stuff like that. I never wore gloves very often, even working on a car or something like that. That's different. But sitting here at my house, I don't want to get my hands all messy and make a big mess. And this stuff can make a mess if you're not careful with it. It's going to get on anything it touches. Let's put it that way. It will get on anything it touches. And here we go. Carmine red. Nice. All right, let's do one more. We can do one more here. We may do a couple more. I don't know what we'll do. Let's wipe this back out again. I should really be using my gloved hand to clean this out with, but I think that's going to be okay like that. Sorry guys, I feel a sneeze coming on. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I felt that sneeze coming on. I thought maybe it was going to like pass, the moment might pass, but no. All right, now the next color, we'll go ahead and get it out, vermilion red. And again, I just want to wipe some of the blue chalk, the dust from some of the blue. You can see on the end right here. I don't know how well you can see it on camera because I don't have it really zoomed in. I want you to be able to see everything that's happening here. I just wipe it off a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, because that little teeny tiny bit of pigment that's still on that, I don't think we'll notice it once we get it crushed up. Or at least I hope not. Now that's the only jars I had labeled. And as you can see, it doesn't take a lot to be able to get them crushed up. That's pretty well crushed up like that right there. Ooh. See that? Just because I was going like this, it just swooped some of that powder right up there. This stuff is, look, you can see it here. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Yeah, you can too. That's what I'm talking about. See, I don't want this kind of messes, so I'm really going to have to be careful with this stuff. I didn't even know that was like that until I just looked, but that's all we need to do. This right here. I don't know how long this pigment will last. I mean, this amount of pigment. But I've been told it will last quite some time. And of course, it's not something we're going to be using on every single picture that we do. Well, I say that, and then, well, we may end up using some pigment, but we're not going to use all of them on every picture we do, every illustration that we color. Vermilion red. Now, maybe we should do a blue. I don't have any of the blues labeled. I will be using a blue, so let me wipe this out again, and then we will, let's do at least one blue. We'll wipe this out. I hope I have my camera adjusted right, because I did not put a shirt on. And I normally will wear a shirt when I'm on well, I'm not on camera, but when I have my camera turned on. But it's so hot and humid that I did not put my shirt on. So I just turned my air conditioner down. Now, I'm only going to do one blue because I don't want to get the blues confused, and I don't have labels made out for them yet. So I am going to go, let's go with this one right here. This is a turquoise blue. Now, this one here on the end right here, it certainly looks blue, but it is called peacock green. So I suspect it does have blue, but it's called peacock green. So I'm going to do the first one that has blue, turquoise blue. So we have turquoise and then dark turquoise. So again, we're going to wipe off. Well, before I do that, I need to wipe the pestle off. Okay. And now we'll just wipe that off a little bit. And you can see how easily my fingers turned blue, or the fingers of the gloves. Thankfully, it's not my hands. I do have some color on this hand, though. I can see that, so I've got to be careful about touching things with this hand. I should have put gloves on this hand, too, but if I did, I'd probably be more careless. Try not to get too crazy with the stirring, because last time you can see what I did. I made a mess. And it's not because I was like stirring all wild and everything either. It's just it just got I guess on the edge and flipped up a little, so just have to be careful. Not be in a big hurry. And thankfully, this set of 64 colors was only like $9.96, just under $10 on Amazon. And it's the Mungyo Pastels. It says since 1946. I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly, but that's how it's spelled. M-U-N-G-Y-O, Mungyo. Now there was not a lot of that stick to the bottom of the pestle, which is nice. Now this is the only blue that I'm going to do, like I said, because I don't have labels on the jar, so I don't want to get them confused. And if there's some stuck in there, there is in this case, a little bit, you can just scrape it out. Not that it gets me enough pigment to really do much with, but I guess there is another brush stroke or two of color down in there. And as you can see, it really doesn't even cover the bottom of the jar. There's not that much There's not that much chalk here when it comes to these small ones. And then we can stir it up a little bit like this. Now, let's swatch this. Let's swatch this blue color. I'm going to kind of carefully put my book over here. And I'll just grab the same brush that I used before. Whoa, I almost dropped that. Whew. Well, actually, I did drop it. Thankfully, it was right close to the table. Now, let's just pick up some of that color. I'm just going to dab it right into that color. Now, in my live stream, when I did the first color, I tapped this brush on the top, like I said, and chalk flew out of that brush and went everywhere. So I got to remember, be careful, tap it inside, and then let's just go right here. We can just go like this. Oh, look at all that color. That's way too much chalk in this thing. So I'm going to have to learn how to control the chalk as it comes out of that brush. And try just a little bit more. Now, I did not get a lot of coverage right there, and I don't even know if you can see that really on camera. It's not real dark. It's not, I don't guess it's meant to be real dark. But I'll just have to learn how to do it. Now, I want to try a different brush. I have this other brush. I want to try it. I kind of like it too. It's a little bit big. It's going to be, I can see it would be difficult to use in like tight areas, small areas. And then when you're through with the brush, you just kind of dry brush it. Now my brush is blue, but there's no blue coming out of that on that paper towel that I'm dabbing it on over here. Just dry brush it until the color stops coming off. And that's not too bad. But anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to show you, just what I'm doing with my soft pastels. So at least once I get it all in the jar, maybe I will not make a mess. Let me just move some of this stuff back out of the way because now I got to clean this up. But that's what I wanted to share with you guys today, just how I have decided that I'm going to do my pastels, my soft pastels. I'm going to turn them into a sort of pan pastel, as you can see. And I'm also going to be buying some makeup. I'm going to try some makeup powdered makeup, and see how it works in comparison to this right here, to these soft pastels, just to see how they work and if that stuff is usable. I'm pretty sure it is. I did, even my friend who encouraged me to try soft pastels, or not try. Try is a word I don't hardly ever use. Sherry, she encouraged me to start using soft pastels for backgrounds, so I can save all my pencils and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about soft pastels. Do you use soft pastels? Do you just grab them in your hand and color with them? How do you go about using your soft pastels? Let me know in the comments, guys. I hope you all have a great day. I hope everything's going well for you. God bless you guys. I'll catch you either in the next video or the next live stream. Until then, guys, God bless.